My fiancé's father said, sign this contract for her student loans or the wedding's off. I said, I understand. Then I took the ring back and bought a house instead. 3 months later, the loan collectors were calling him as the co-signer. I, 29 male, was supposed to marry Jenna, 27, this past June. We'd been together 4 years, engaged for 1. Everything seemed perfect until her dad pulled his power move at what was supposed to be a casual dinner 3 months before the wedding. Gordon, her father, always gave me weird vibes. Real estate broker, drove a leased BMW he couldn't afford. Constantly talked about building generational wealth while being behind on his own mortgage. But Jenna adored him, so I kept my mouth shut. That Tuesday night, after we'd finished eating, Gordon pulled out this folder, like an actual manila folder, with typed documents inside. Slid it across the table like we were in some corporate merger. Before you join this family officially, we need to discuss Jenna's education investment. I looked at Jenna. She was staring at her plate. The investment was in $27,000 in student loans for her master's in creative writing from a private university. The one Gordon insisted she attend because prestige matters more than price. I need you to sign as co-borrower on the refinancing, he said. Better rates with dual income. I flipped through the papers. The loan terms were insane. Variable rate starting at 8.9%, 20-year term. Gordon, this would make me equally responsible for supporting your wife's dreams. Yes. He leaned back, this smug look on his face. Unless you don't believe in her potential. Jenna finally spoke up. Dad, we talked about this being voluntary. Sweetheart, a real man doesn't let his woman struggle with debt alone. I set the papers down. I need time to review this with a financial advisor. Gordon's face went red. Financial advisor, this is about trust. You either commit to this family fully or he let it hang there. Or what? Or maybe you're not ready for marriage. Can't have the wedding if you're not committed to the family burden. I mean investment. I looked at Jenna. She was crying silently. I understand, I said. Got home that night and couldn't sleep. Jenna kept apologizing, saying she had no idea her dad would do this, that she'd talked to him. But something felt off. She was upset. Yeah, but not shocked, not angry at him. Next morning I did some digging, found out through a mutual friend who worked at the university that Jenna had actually graduated with about $63,000 in loans. The rest Gordon had taken out Parent Plus loans and spent them on expenses. His BMW lease, a vacation to Cabo, new golf clubs. Now he wanted to consolidate everything and make me responsible for his spending. I confronted Jenna that evening. She broke down completely. I didn't know how to tell you. He said he was helping with living expenses. But I found out later he was using it for himself. He promised he'd pay it back, but then his real estate deals fell through. And you knew this whole time. You knew I was going to tell you after the wedding. I swear after I was legally bound to you. She couldn't deny it. I took the ring back that night. Not dramatically, just asked for it while she was sobbing on the couch. She handed it over without argument. Update 1. The aftermath was intense. Gordon called me 43 times the first day, left voicemails ranging from, let's discuss this like men, to you're destroying my daughter, to I'll sue you for emotional damages. My favorite was, that ring was a promise. You can't just take it back. Actually, I could. I checked. Conditional gift laws in my state are clear. Jenna moved back with her parents, started posting vague quotes on Instagram about knowing your worth and real men step up. Her mom, Diane, commented on every single one with prayer hands emojis. But here's where it gets interesting. Remember I mentioned saving for the wedding? We had a budget of $35,000. I'd saved $26,000 of it. Jenna was supposed to contribute the rest, but kept having unexpected expenses. That money was sitting in my savings account untouched. Gordon knew about it. He'd made comments about how wise I was to save so aggressively. 5 days after the breakup, he called from a different number. I answered, listen, I may have been harsh. Let's compromise. You take on half the loans. We still have the wedding. I'll even knock $5,000 off the wedding contribution from our side. Your contribution was only $9,000 to begin with. Exactly. So now it's $4,000. That's reasonable. I laughed. Actually laughed. Gordon, there's no wedding. You don't understand what you're doing. Jenna's destroyed. Her anxiety medication costs alone. Not my problem anymore. What about the deposits? The venue? The catering? I'm handling it. He paused. You're going to lose thousands walking away from those deposits. Actually, I'm not. See, I'd been smart about one thing. Every contract for the wedding was in my name only. Jenna had insisted on it because planning stresses me out. You're so much better at this stuff. I'd already called the venue. Turned out another couple had been waitlisted for our date. The venue agreed to transfer everything if I let them keep a small transfer fee. Lost maybe $800 total instead of $8,000. The catering. My buddy from college had just started his restaurant business and was doing it at cost as our wedding gift. He was relieved when I called it off. Turned out he'd been stressing about the dietary restrictions Jenna kept adding. The photographer was my cousin. The flowers were through a family friend. I lost maybe $2,000 total in deposits. Had $24,000 left. You know what I did with it? Put a down payment on a house, a small 2-bedroom fixer-upper in a decent neighborhood. Closed in 30 days thanks to the cash down payment. Update 2. Gordon's getting desperate. Found out through mutual friends that he'd been telling everyone I financially abused Jenna by stealing the wedding funds. Even called my parents to tell them they raised a con artist. My mom's response was legendary. At least my son knows not to spend loan money on a BMW lease. How did she know about that? Because I forwarded her the receipts I'd found. Gordon's Facebook was wide open, posting pictures from Cabo with timestamps matching the loan disbursement dates. Idiot even tagged the resort. But the real comedy started when Jenna began dating again. 2 weeks after we split, she was on dating apps. Her profile said she was looking for a mature man who understands financial partnership in relationships. She matched with Trevor. Investment banker, drove a Tesla. Seemed perfect. They dated for 3 weeks before he Googled her and found her father's public Facebook rants about me not taking on her debt. Trevor asked her about it on their 4th date. According to my friend who witnessed this at a restaurant, Jenna tried to explain it as my ex was financially controlling. Trevor, who apparently wasn't an idiot, asked, "So your dad wanted him to co-sign your student loans?" "Well, yes, but how much?" "That's not how much. $127,000. Trevor excused himself to go to the bathroom and never came back. Left her with a $200 dinner check. Gordon called me the next day screaming that I'd ruined Jenna's reputation. How? By not signing loan documents. By making us look like gold diggers if the shoe fits. He hung up. Meanwhile, I'm fixing up my house. Spent weekends pulling up old carpet, painting walls, updating fixtures. Posted a few progress pics on Instagram. Nothing dramatic, just new project homeowner. Jenna saw them, sent me a long text about how I was rubbing her face in it, and, I always wanted a house. Yeah, I knew she wanted a house she didn't have to pay for. Update 3. Remember those loans Gordon wanted me to co-sign on? Funny thing about Parent Plus loans, they're in the parents, not the students. And Gordon, in his infinite wisdom, had been making minimum payments for years while the interest accumulated. Well, 3 months after our breakup, something beautiful happened. See, when I refused to sign the refinancing documents, Gordon had to find another solution. His original plan was to consolidate everything into a private loan with better terms using my credit score and income. Without me, he was stuck. The loans went into default. The first call came while I was at work. Gordon panicked in his voice. "They're garnishing my wages. They can't do this. Who is the loan servicer? They're taking 15% of my commissions." I stayed quiet. "This is your fault if you just signed. Gordon, those are your loans. Parent Plus loans. Your name, your responsibility. But they were for Jenna. No. $63,000 was for Jenna. The rest was for your BMW and vacations." Silence. "How did you?" "Doesn't matter. What matters is that you tried to con me into paying for your midlife crisis. How's that working out?" He started threatening legal action again. I hung up, but it gets better. Diane, Jenna's mom, didn't know about the loan default till they tried to refinance their house to help with the situation. Turns out Gordon had been hiding a lot of financial problems. The default tanked his credit. No refinancing possible. Diane called me crying, begging me to reconsider. He made a mistake. "Please, you loved Jenna once." I did. Then I found out she was complicit in fraud. It's not fraud. It's family helping family. It's literally fraud. Using education loans for personal expenses, that's fraud. She hung up on me. Then came the real estate license issue. Turns out having your wages garnished doesn't look great to the real estate board. Gordon's broker got wind of his financial situation, started questioning whether he could be trusted with client escrow accounts. He wasn't fired, but he was put on probationary status, meaning someone else had to oversee all his transactions. His commission split went from 70-30 to 50-50 to account for the extra supervision. Update 4. Jenna reached out last week. "Different energy entirely. Can we talk in person?" Against my better judgment, I agreed. Met at a coffee shop. She looked rough. Stress, weight loss, bags under her eyes, nails bitten down to nothing. "I'm sorry," she started. "I should have told you about the loans, about Dad using the money." I waited. "He's losing it. Mom found out he took out a second mortgage last year without telling her. Used her signature. She's filing for divorce. That's unfortunate. I need to ask you something." She pulled out papers. "Would you be willing to write a statement for Mom's lawyer about Dad trying to force you to take the loans?" I looked at the papers. "Your mom wants me to help her divorce your dad. She needs to prove financial deception. Your situation shows a pattern." The irony was incredible. "Jenna, you were part of that deception." I know I was, but I didn't think you didn't think I'd find out until after we were married." She started crying. "I loved you. I still do. Dad always said this was how families worked, that you share burdens." "No, Jenna, he taught you to pass burdens on to others." I took the papers. I'll think about it. Got home and actually left. They wanted me to help clean up the mess they created. But here's the thing. I actually did write the statement, not for Jenna or Diane, but because Gordon needed consequences. Detailed everything. The attempted coercion, the threats about calling off the wedding, the revelation about misused loan funds. Diane's lawyer was very interested in the Cabo vacation funded by education loans. Update 5. Gordon's world has officially imploded. The divorce proceedings revealed even more financial crimes. He'd opened credit cards in Diane's name, took out a car loan for a boat he sold 2 months later. The Parent Plus loans were just the tip of the iceberg, but the real karma came from an unexpected source. The IRS. See, when you use student loan money for non-education expenses, that's not just fraud, it's potentially taxable income you didn't report. Diane's lawyer, being thorough, reported the whole situation to the IRS. Gordon called me drunk at 2 a.m. last Tuesday. You destroyed my life. No, Gordon, you destroyed your life. I just declined to participate. My daughter won't even talk to me. Can you blame her? She has to move back in with Diane. Can't afford her apartment anymore. Maybe she should get a job that uses that creative writing degree. He went on a rant about respect and family and how his generation understood commitment. I put him on speaker and made a sandwich. Eventually, he tired himself out. You could have had everything. A beautiful wife, a family, connections in real estate. Gordon, I do have everything. I have a house that's mine, a job with no garnished wages, a credit score in the 800s, parents who aren't getting divorced. What exactly did I miss out on? He hung up. Jenna texted me the next day. Dad's moving back with Grandma. Lost the house in the divorce. I didn't respond. She sent another. I got a job at Barnes & Noble. Good for her. Another, I'm sorry for everything. You didn't deserve any of this. That one I responded to. You're right, I didn't. Final update. Closed on selling my house yesterday. Made a $38,000 profit after just 6 months of fixes and market appreciation. Already under contract for a better place in a better neighborhood. Gordon's living with his mother, working part-time at a different real estate firm. His wages are still being garnished. The IRS hit him with $34,000 in back taxes and penalties. He's 58 years old and basically starting over. Diane got the house in the divorce, but had to sell it to pay off the secret debts Gordon accumulated. She's renting a one-bedroom apartment now, working as a receptionist. Jenna's still at Barnes & Noble dating some guy named Keith, who apparently also has massive student loans. Guess she found her financial partnership. My cousin, who was going to photograph our wedding, shot a proposal last week. The guy signing the check mentioned he'd heard about that situation with the loans through mutual friends. Said it made him and his fiancée have a serious talk about financial transparency before marriage. They actually went to a financial counselor together. You probably saved that couple years of problems. My cousin told me maybe last week got a LinkedIn notification. Gordon viewed my profile. That's it. Just viewed it. I updated it the next day with my new promotion to senior project manager. Petty? Maybe satisfying? Absolutely. Oh, and remember that ring? Sold it for $8,700. Put it toward the new house down payment. The jeweler asked if there was a story behind it. I said, yeah, dodged a $127,000 bullet. He laughed and said, I should buy a lottery ticket with luck like that. Told him luck had nothing to do with it. Sometimes the best investment you can make is walking away from a bad deal, even if that deal comes wrapped in a white dress and calls itself love. To anyone facing similar pressure, no is a complete sentence. Your financial future is not a dowry, and anyone who tries to use your love as leverage for their gain doesn't love you. They love what you can do for them. Also, always get everything in writing, even crazy demands, especially crazy demands. Gordon, if you're reading this, and I know you are, because Jenna said you've been hate stalking my socials. Your BMW got repossessed last month. I saw it on the auction website. Went for $11,000 under book value. Guess that generational wealth isn't generating much, is it? Cool. Cool.